These latest headlines from ABC15 are sponsored by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorneys. One call, that's all.
I'm Craig McHugh with your top stories from ABC15 Arizona. New today, so-called doomsday mom Lori Daybell receiving 2 life sentences for her Valley murder conspiracy cases. Daybell was found guilty in 2 separate cases over the death of her former husband and an attempt to kill her niece's ex-husband. That man, Brandon Boudreau, speaking in court today ahead of the sentencing.
Your Honor, I'm a believer in forgiveness, but I do not believe that this means that we can trust those who commit crimes to continue to have freedom that they had before. I choose to forgive Lori for myself.
You may remember Daybell was previously sentenced to life in prison in Idaho for the murder of her 2 children, J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan. Intel says it has completed its planned workforce reduction. The chip maker announced last quarter it would cut 15% of its employees, including jobs at the campuses here in Arizona. Despite restructuring efforts, Intel posted a loss of nearly $3 billion this quarter. That's almost double its loss from the same period last year. Still, Intel's stock is up 12% this year as investors show confidence in the company's direction. Getting water seems as simple as turning on the tap, right? But behind every drop is a huge operation. The Central Arizona Project brings 500 billion gallons of Colorado River water a year to Phoenix and Tucson. Giant pipes, like you see here, called siphons, run along the canal system, helping carry that water. They pump the water coming to the valley underneath natural riverbeds. Every few years, though, they need to be dried out and inspected, allowing this rare look inside an essential part of the Central Arizona Project system.
Takes it underneath the Agua Fria River, get below the scour depth of the river, and then we come back up to atmospheric pressure on the other side and just continue on. So hydraulically, the canal never really realizes there's a pipeline here. So it's just a very efficient way of moving water.
Inspections of the siphon found no major issues this time around. CAP says water is now back rushing through at a rate of 1.3 million gallons a second. In tonight's Impact Earth Report, experts are learning more about the impact of our warming world on already declining bee populations. While many bee species have been considered heat tolerant, some experts worry that further warming will change that, making them more susceptible to illness and make it more challenging to actually find food. Recent studies discovered that, just like us, bees try to take shelter from extreme heat, and that means less time pollinating plants. Things like habitat loss and increased use of pesticides also play a role. Experts say that further study is still needed to better understand the problem and someday work on a solution. We're following up today after the president's visit to the Federal Reserve this week. President Donald Trump's feud with Fed Chair Jerome Powell escalating as the president criticized Powell to his face. The president has repeatedly vented his frustration with Powell publicly and even called for his firing as the Fed continues to hold interest rates steady. Here are some of the awkward and tense moments caught on camera.
The 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed. You just added in a 3rd building is what that is. That's a 3rd building.
Well, no, but it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago.
Are there things the chairman can say to you today that would make you back off some of the earlier criticism?
Well, I'd love him to lower interest rates.
The president today said he is confident Powell and the Fed will be lowering rates soon. The Fed says it's been holding rates flat recently because of the uncertainty the president's tariffs are bringing to the U.S. and global economies. Now to our wildfire watch. The push to contain the Dragon Bravo fire burning in the north rim of the Grand Canyon. It continues today. The wildfire grew to more than 23,000 acres. Containment of the destructive fire remaining at 26%. Fire crews have made significant progress in containing the White Sage fire, also burning in the north rim. Containment now growing to 77%. The acreage hasn't seen any growth either.
Tracking your forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Amber Sellens. We are headed into a sizzling hot weekend. Tomorrow actually near normal with a high of 107, but we are going to climb up above 110 in some valley neighborhoods by Sunday. Here's your forecast hour by hour, 6 a.m. in the 80s. Still a nice and relatively cool start to the day for this time of year. We'll hit 102 around noon, 107 around 4, and back down to 105 around 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. Low pressure offshore still bringing in that drier air, but our ridge of high pressure out to the east southeast will reposition itself in the coming days and allow monsoon moisture to flow back into Arizona. So we do have storm chances back in your 7-day forecast. They're going to start out slight on Tuesday at just 10%, and then they'll increase to 30% by Thursday of next week. At that point, temperatures will drop, humidity will go up, a high of 107 on Thursday. That's after a sizzling hot 111 to start the week on Monday.